Oh, hi. I want to say, oh, hi, Mark, but
Oh, well,
there's a story.
eventually.
Hi, chat. How's it going? Welcome to Figure It Out. I'm Zakanan. This is Mikey.
Today on Figure It Out, we learn about time zones and how some states don't recognize daylight savings time.
Listen,
That's right.
chat.
Not everybody has to put up with this bullshit.
Yeah, I put into Google. I'm like, hey, Google, if it's MST here, what is it in CST where I'm at? I thought everything was good.
Simple
And then
enough.
Mikey goes, we might have a problem.
Yeah.
Houston.
Also, that's wrong.
Not all parts of Arizona recognize that. Like, wait, what? Or Arizona doesn't?
Most of
Out
Arizona
of the MST.
Mm-hmm.
So contacted Mark. We had a nice little laugh about it. He will be here shortly. He thought he still had an hour to kill. He's like, oh, I thought that was kind of late. All right. Good times.
What do we know? We're still figuring it out.
We are definitely still figuring it out. So, yeah. Hello, chat. How are you doing? Shark Eyes. Never knew I had my own channel. Consider me subscribed.
Yeah, right on.
Thank
nice.
you, sir. Mama Kukovic.
Hi, Mom. Love you. Love you. Thanks for coming.
For those of you greeting Mark, like Tony Horton, he'll eventually see, he'll get it. We'll tell him. We'll pass it on.
Preemptively. We're preemptively greeting the guest.
This is a warm up. When he shows up, then everybody say hello to Mark and greet him.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is like the practice, like surprise. Oh, it's not the real guy. Like,
yeah, this whole thing right here. Like stupid. Gridiron Studios, looking forward to a fun ass show. He's not here yet. He won't see it yet. Van Morrissey is 3/4 of bottle in, so yeah. But are his feelings. All right. Eddie, what's going on? Talib. Super K. Followers of all things translucent.
Ah, yes.
My Turk Murphy. Got Aiden Skate. Got Jeff Butler, who knows his shit.
That he does.
Tony's fake. Are you freaking kidding me? Thanks to Tony, by the way. You know what? Let's do this here, Mikey. I think it's community time.
Shout him out.
Thanks for giving back to the community.
What community? There's a community?
Yeah.
Is looking at you, kid.
It's 7 p.m. here. We don't change.
We don't change.
I don't live there. I don't know. Okay.
You gotta clue him in on these things. Okay.
Yeah. I all I had was MST. Okay. That's all I had to go off of. I didn't have Arizona MST to go off of because in my head, apparently
now,
she's saying it's Arizona
on the Navajo
time.
Reservation, they recognize it, but everybody else says go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So that's so crazy. But shout out to Tony's Figs because Mikey was like, hey, why don't we reach out to Gridiron because of his connection with, Bill and Mike from BigBadWorkshop and Fresh Monkey Fiction, doing the weapons. He's like, I think that'd be a good conversation. I think I reached out to Tony about like effects for like Gridiron Studios. Like, I don't use blast effects, bruh.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that sucks. He's like, but I'll ask Mark tomorrow when I go out to lunch with him. I'm like, what? Gridiron Studios, Mark? Mm-hmm. You went to high school with him. Hey, we're trying to get him on the show.
Yeah. Put in a good word. And Tony said, you betcha.
And what do? I fuck it up.
I didn't do this when we had Bill and Mike on. That's all I'm going to say.
Mikey had that shit on lockdown. Not your boy Zach over here. That's not how I roll. I roll in a wheelchair. I need help. So yes, thank you, Tony. Thank you.
It's okay. We can laugh about it now.
I don't know how MS-13's involved, but I'll blame him. I mean, I got no problem blaming him.
Mountain Standard 13. Is that what that means?
Yeah. Mountain Standard 13. Now I'm also trying to look at my phone to make sure he's like, hey, I didn't get that link. Like, I know he emailed it. I looked. I think I sent it twice.
Looked at it with your own eyes.
Oh, dang it. What did you... Van Morrissey. For an upside down,
Okay.
666 999. I'll give you a cheers, Van.
99999.
Cheers. Got one for my boy Mikey over here. His birthday's coming up. Not to dox him. I won't say an exact date, but it's imminent.
Everybody's birthday is imminent.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
So I'll be visiting this man this weekend. Look out for some content, or I'll be so drunk I'll forget to do anything and we won't do any content at all.
That could be. That could be. Could be.
Oh, no, he went to another high school. Oh, I thought you went to high school together. My fault.
They did in the same city and at the same time, but different schools. Also, I made that up.
He's my neighbor and we don't even have the same time zone. See, what are we doing here? By the way, I am a big proponent of getting rid of daylight savings time. Get rid of it.
Good on Arizona for telling that to take a hike.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
Hey, daylight savings times, you put an egg in your shoe and beat it.
Tyler Lalone.
Lelon.
Godzilla. Hey, yo, Frankie. Oh, you stop it. I'll be on Labor Day, Monday. Frankie is going to be joining me, and we're going to be doing the best versus the worst turtles. We're going to have OG TMNT versus cartoon or OG cartoon TMNT.
Well,
Why don't you figure it out, Cicadan? Trying, brother. Every goddamn day of my life.
Smudge.
Hey, there we go.
Ooh.
All right. Everyone, welcome
Yeah.
Mark
I'm here.
with Gridiron Studios.
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I feel dumb not knowing that, Arizona's like, nah, fuck off. I'm not doing daylight savings time.
That works, man. We're the Wild West over here.
Oh, yeah. Tony's been shouting it out. I was like, yeah, we don't do that. Well,
Yeah.
damn, apparently I should have zeroed in on exactly where you live, Mark.
Yeah, you should have done some research next time, maybe.
No worries, man. No worries. I
versus-
read it on my phone. I was like, I'm good, man. I got another 45 minutes or so.
It's like, I'm gonna go eat, get a couple beers.
Yeah, a nice, relaxing build up to the show. So you thought.
Mark's like, man, it starts kind of late, but yeah, okay, whatever.
Sorry, man. We never stop here anyway. It's always like we're running until midnight every night. So it's no big deal.
All right on, man. Thank you for joining us. People have been saying hi, Mark, because they just expect you to pop up on screen when we started the show.
No.
There we go. There's Scooter Garage.
Scooter.
There's Jacob. Oh, Mark is here. Now we can chill. Gridiron Gang stand up. We got some Gridiron Gang. Mikey and I apparently might be Gridiron Gang now.
That's my Adam guy, right? Nice.
Oh, hi, Mark. Mikey almost put "Oh, hi, Mark" in the thumbnail. It was close.
Yeah, but I wanted to be Gridiron Gang, so I subbed it out.
He subbed it out for that instead. So, guys,
Bunny, what's up, buddy?
That's fun. All right.
Did we do any pre-show? Hey, Mark, did you have anything from It Came from the Collection?
Any what? Say it again.
Anything from It Came from the Collection? A little show and tell of anything you have in your collection, whether it's a toy, artwork, a Zippo lighter.
Gosh dang it, man.
A watch.
I don't think so, man. I think I I mean, I've got something cool to show.
Oh yeah, here now. Let's do this. Here, I got you. You want to show it off?
Yeah, we can show that.
Oh
We
yeah.
can start out with this. So just give you a little backstory.
Okay.
Is we've been looking at the, if you guys are familiar with our Hound, our
Yep.
kind of all-terrain vehicle. So we've been looking at doors.
Oh,
Nice.
So this is a prototype, but we're real close. The cool part is this.
Oh, that is cool.
I love that's badass.
So we're full suicide on these, and then they pop out, which is kind of cool look. So
That is cool.
You know what? Now you've shown that, I really want to do a desert one and do my Megaforce vehicle.
that's what that's all about. So
Damn it. Did you have Megaforce in mind when you were designing that? Son of a bitch.
we have a motorcycle model sitting around here too. So
Do you?
Nice.
You can tell, man. You can tell my age real fast, man.
You seem like a young man to me. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I got 7 grandkids, man.
Jeez.
I've been around.
Well, I'm shooting blanks. At least that's what I told all my dates. I might have actually been correct.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh, we got, speaking of, Mikey's co-host on Wednesdays.
Oh,
Two Silly Gooses
Tony,
Legend
baby.
Series. What's up, buddy? Not to be confused with this Tony.
Different Tony.
It's always
Both part of
confusing
the
when both
Customizers
Tonys
Alliance.
are in here.
They're both a part of the alliance.
Blitz in the house. Gridiron never sleeps.
No, I knew it. It.
No, we can't, man. We just can't.
Can't afford the rest.
5 years, man. It's been like nonstop. For us to take a vacation just shuts everything down. So we just keep grinding, man. Keep grinding.
That's a good name. So we wanted this whole thing. We kind of want to showcase what you do. Obviously, I've got like a few items here that we'll probably show off during the show.
Cool.
But what got you into this?
How far back do you want to go?
Go all the way back.
I'm an old school Joe guy, so it never stopped for me. I mean, I was in '82. I think I was at that point, 11, 12 years old, riding my bike to 7-Eleven, picking up my first comic. It was issue number 2. I missed number 1. And then
it was 11 for me when I got into it.
Yeah, and I remember that was the magic day. It was like that year was really magical to us. And I think understanding what it meant to ride a bike to a store, try to chain your bike up outside to run in to see if they had some new toy,
Do you remember what your first Joe was that you bought?
I do. So I go back. I think I've told the story before. So for me, it makes sense that I'm an accessory guy. Because when I was looking, all the kids were buying Snake Eyes, and I was counting the number of stuff in the little bubble.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it was a really close fight, I think, between like Short Fuse and like Flash.
Yeah.
But I Short Fuse won because it was just so much stuff. Is what my memory is.
You're thinking more bang for your buck. You're like playability. Like I can get more out of that.
Yeah, and he had the stand, and he had the backpack, and what looked to be a cool cannon. At my age, it was just such a great figure. And yeah,
I snuck out of my house, Mark, and I biked down the furthest I'd ever gone to the store, which was I don't know, maybe 7-8 blocks away, whatever.
Yeah,
went to TJ&Y, my local town, and I picked up Snake Eyes and I picked up Stalker. Those were my first.
Totally, and I know a lot of guys went that way, and I see it now for sure. Like there was something unique about the fact that he was all black sitting there on the shelf and very ninja. You had all that stuff that was happening to us in the 80s and 70s. And I think being like, to me, it's always that we were such post-Vietnam kids.
Yeah.
That the gear was so, all the TV shows we were watching, all the, movies were all based on that era. So like it made total sense when that line rolled out. They were just an extension of Vietnam stuff to us,
Oh, I agree. I mean, because you had, Missing in Action, you had Rambo. I mean,
exactly.
Delta Force.
Yeah, exactly. Megaforce, right?
Megaforce was a big one. Like I couldn't wait to use my Joe vehicles as everything from Megaforce.
Exactly, man. Yeah, it's funny when you start thinking about it because there's, and not to change subject, but even talking about Megaforce to me, that era, like that Sanrail, that late 70s Sanrail like version, I ended up owning one later on in the 90s. That form of a sand rail was like that was so iconic to us.
Yeah.
It's why we went with the Hound the way we did. I mean, it was, you can argue that there was some unintentional Ostriker kind of vibes in there, but even to me, man, it wasn't a we weren't searching out to replace the Ostriker. We were trying to create that 70s sand rail.
Yeah.
That weapon system, that Mega Force, all that stuff was kind of coming, especially like Delta Force.
Yep.
So like the all black, the Shadow the Shadow Hound we did was all Delta Force. So
yeah, again, until you showed those doors, the suicide doors with the guns on them, I was like, oh shit, that's Mega Force, because I wasn't getting Mega Force before that moment.
Totally. Yeah. So I've been waiting to do these doors for a long time. This was the next good, logical phase for us.
Well, and this, I think I can go along with the super chat here from Van Morrissey for $4.99. Spent way too much on Gridiron. Love your stuff, sir. Can we get the Throne of Guns back up for purchase? Good question, man.
Yes, I mean it'll definitely be popping out probably before Christmas again.
Sweet.
It's kind of been our I say it's like a flag for us, but it stands for a lot. When we did that model, it really stood for what it took to get through that first year of business, and actually still stay in business.
It's kind of like a milestone piece that you like breaking out of the vault.
Yeah, I think every model that was in that first year pretty much was in that chair.
That's awesome.
Tim Taser over here. Hey guys, hey Mark, I got my Shadow Phalanx. It's awesome. Now waiting on my turret. Hurry up.
Totally good. Yeah, in fact, I know we're gonna get those questions, but we put out a big PSA today to kind of keep everybody in check, because I'll get guys they'll send me a message and they'll be like, hey, it's been 50 days and you said 45, but it's business days.
Yes.
I haven't exceeded 45 business days on a single order ever.
So, oh, really?
So if everybody knows who we are, some of the new guys that join in, they're, in this Amazon climate, everybody gets something within about 24 hours.
Yep. No.
Yep.
Yeah. And now, we're making it, in our own shop, these pieces that aren't, they're not injection molded, so they're 3D printed, but they're designed specifically for our manufacturing style. And once you get one, you get it. But, I understand if somebody's new to us and they're ordering one, they don't know what to expect,
Well, and I think people kind of lose a plot. I mean, there's the Amazon model, right? But there's also, they release what they're going to do. It doesn't come out in 45 days. Drag it. I mean, it's a quick turnaround for Hasbro, but I mean, we're talking what?
Sure.
7 months?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's never even, it's funny because you would think they're understanding, but our guys, we have a really strong fan base, and the Gridiron gang, man, they're a good group of guys that understand what we're doing, appreciate what we're doing, and I think that's what allows us to keep moving forward. We'll take on new customers that kind of have to jump on and kind of learn as we go what our speed is. But, in most cases, I mean, if it's a smaller order, it goes out in 48 hours. So it's still pretty fast on a lot of that.
Yeah, for something like Shadow Phalanx, I can get that. In fact, hell, I'll just do this now as we're talking about it. Let's see. What's the best one for this one, Mikey? We're going to find out here. Yeah. This is not a small item.
No.
This thing, especially with all of the working pieces here, including the light, which really, for photography, this thing is amazing, man. Like I was like, oh, that's gonna be too big.
Yeah. I
was talking myself out of it. Like I was telling you, like a roll keeper, Dan was showing off his. I'm like, okay, if they make it in black, I'll do it. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, it said, here's the Shadow Phalanx. Like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Apparently,
you gotta
on Gridiron
for your
gang.
Crimson Moon to ride in. I mean, that's what.
Oh, this is totally going to be my hiss I say his fire team, but I mean, I've got Valaverse in there. I've got everybody in black and red that's over there. Hell, I've got US Agent over there in that diorama.
Okay.
So yeah, this thing's amazing. I can't talk this thing enough. And I'm with him as far as like the turret. I'm like, okay,
Where's my turret?
where's my turret? I want the turret now.
My turret, and I need it
I
now.
want the turret now.
I can let you know, like we tried to ship about, I think in a good day, I think we had a day the other, it was like yesterday, the day before, we tried to get about 17 of those turrets out. So
Oh wow.
if you know what's going on there, there's a lot happening. I mean, I'm sitting in one of the rooms where we make some of these, and this
Oh, here, let me get you up there.
the base piece that is, where the computer pops out.
Jesus.
And so, we put a whole like periscope system in there. So once you get this, you start to understand like there's a lot going on. And, we have resin pieces as well as FDM pieces in there. We got a little chair in there. A lot of cool details. So, it's all playtime for us, man. I mean, we take this very serious as a toy manufacturer. We don't consider ourselves a third party. I know we keep getting referred to that as, but for us, I mean, this isn't a third party toy, right? This is a Gridiron vehicle.
Yep.
And as far as we're concerned, we're making accessories now for our own vehicles. I don't consider us third party anymore.
That's been an interesting conversation, especially as it gets towards the end of the year, like have awards and people are like, what are your top 10? Like, what's your top 10 like of independent companies? So instead of saying third party, now it's like independent, because like third party isn't really fit the bill in a lot of companies now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rarely use that term.
Yeah.
It's got a negative connotation, I feel like
yeah,
you're not running molds off of somebody else's product. You're making your own thing, so it's kind of hard to say.
Tony's figs right here are made in America too.
Yeah.
True.
And for us, it's I still, third party always kind of hit me as that's some guy in his garage trying to fork out some parts and carve some stuff out of and get it shipped. It's all and I understand, because everybody starts that way when you're trying to get it going. But I think you're evolving. I mean, we have such an enormous harvest now that there's just you can't. We run a print farm that's huge, so it's not to be able to run as many parts as you see in that phalanx and get that thing out within a certain amount of time. A print time could be, I think on some of those phalanx parts is like 27 hours.
Sure.
So how do you process 1,000 orders of those?
So when you say a print farm, can you talk about that? We understand if you can. Like, how big is a print farm?
Oh, let's just say it's a lot of printers.
It's a lot of printers. Okay.
Yeah,
And do you have multiple printers, Mark? Like, if you're doing like the phalanx, do you have like this printer is doing this part, this printer is doing this part, this printer is doing this part?
It takes almost 10 printers to run the phalanx.
Is it still 27 hours, taking that into account? Wow.
So there's a lot that goes into it. And I think, we have, I can't give you numbers, but I can tell you our electric bill is over $2,000 a month.
I believe that, yeah.
Okay.
So not only are you running printers, but you're also running an environment to keep that cool.
Exactly.
You got to regulate the temperature, else it'll mess up your resin, your prints, and
yeah. And we run a lot of UV print, stuff too. So most of our weapons are still UV, all that kind of stuff. So we have a certain flexibility that we can get and all that stuff.
And guys, I will be, tagging questions throughout this, like Tim Taser. Mark, please, that's not really a question. He's just saying, please give us any version of the M113, either Vietnam to end of life. Love that vehicle.
Tim, let me, how do you put it? It's my favorite vehicle ever. So you and me are in the same boat. And I can safely say you will definitely get a 113.
Okay.
That's without a doubt.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, that'd be badass.
And Tim is the master of kit bashing, by the way. I missed Tim's secret stash sell, by the way, at Toy Tuber Expo because I was doing yoga, by the way. That's a real thing that happened, and I missed this stuff. But anyway, Tim's also he's Mark, can you sell a single stowage basket? I really want one more for the phalanx.
Yeah, so we're coming out with a whole line of stowage sets because that phalanx, if you can tell, like we did 3 baskets on purpose, right? So you can hang some of your other stuff.
Which I can even show that off here.
Yeah.
talking about that basket on that side.
We gave 3 so you can kind of change it up. And then, because some people were asking why we didn't do 4, and we're trying to keep costs down, and it was a way to kind of throw some other gear in there. And then down the road, we could always offer a basket by itself. We can offer different stowage. I mean, we have sets of packs coming now that we have our system of hanging, like how we have our rig system.
Like these are that's really handy just to be able to sit there.
And you can put it wherever you want it.
And put that clip, yeah.
And you could technically put it actually in the basket hooked on. You can hook it on the outside of the basket. All those rails are designed to handle our stowage systems.
And those hooks allow you to use any of the backpacks. So if you had the roadblock kit that's just a canister of Cal 50, you could just line those up too.
That's exactly right. In fact,
that's awesome.
All these big rigs that just came out this weekend, all those packs can be hung on your outside of your vehicles.
That's pretty awesome.
Cool.
We're whenever we sit and like Quaid and I do most of the main designs, we will sit and just analyze every aspect of modularity first. So that way we didn't forget a way that something can hang on something or put in something, the way a turret opens, can you still put something else there, And you'll see that if you got a turret coming for your phalanx, the guys that have gotten in now, or they'll notice like that top hatch now comes off, and all you got to do is pop your turret in there, and it has a locking mechanism. So it works.
To show that off, popping that out right there, and that turret just sits right in there, right?
Yeah, sits right in there, and the design, even on that top thing you just took off, that top component, that thing's been designed in a way not to ever like think, oh, well, I wasted that part.
Yeah.
That's designed, you'll see it without giving too much away. That's part of a bigger plan that has to do with headquarters base.
Ooh.
So that piece, if you set it on the ground like that, you'll notice you could look right at the top, picture underneath it being a tunnel. So those hatches would open up, like if that was like an armed emplacement.
Yeah. Okay.
And you could put any of our missile systems on that adapter.
Yeah, I was even messing around with that as I was watching people sit there and put in.
You can kind of make it look like a little
the other missile systems. I saw Alan the Collector.
Who
it is? He does some great videos. So anytime I had a question about something, I was always hitting Alan the Collector stuff up.
Yeah, he's our he's our media partner for that reason. We wanted to hook up with somebody that was very not only entertaining and positive. We're not about the negativity. So he's so just a pure love of toys, and it comes across in this video.
It does. He comes across as like just super genuine,
very genuine. And that's what when I saw it, I saw a video. He had gotten some stuff and did a review, and I reached out to him. I mean, we've had other reviews done by other people, but we really enjoy the process in which he goes through a lot of effort in production. For one thing, I mean, he's obviously a professional in production, but his personality and the way he touches on these things, man, there's a lot of love there, and that's something that's important to us. So
that passion.
Yeah, we didn't care that he had 5 million followers. None of that matters to us. What matters is it a legitimate, real positive dude, and that's all we wanted.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of fans in the chat tonight. I can tell you that.
No doubt. No doubt.
And this guy over here, war chest full of toys. $2. Can I get a MPAC 44 and 45?
Oh, that'd be nice, man. I'll put it on the list.
There you go, War Chest on the list.
Yeah. Thanks, War Chest.
John Toole, to help scale, do you all begin printing ahead of time to some minimum level to get ahead of the long wait times?
How do we put this? We have this weird model, and I think it can be frustrating for some people that don't understand the system if they're new. But like our system has been right off the get-go, we had no idea what to expect. When we entered this, kind of going back to the original story, when we entered into the market, Quaid, my oldest son, like a lot of people know, I'm partnered up with my two boys. And Colin runs all of our production, and Quaid does the design modeling. And then I'm more R&D and marketing. So when he came in, I'd been in the toy business for about 25 years. He was getting his master's in industrial design. And so I'd run, a couple other toy companies along the way, more like diorama materials. And when he was getting near the end, and we were talking, and I kept looking at the classified stuff right when it came out, and he was saying, well, what should I be working on, and what can we be doing? He always liked the pop culture stuff. You can kind of see behind me. He's made these models along the way. He did a full size Iron Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actuators. It's a costume as well as a display model.
Oh, wow.
And just on a professional level, really good stuff. So, and I looked at it and I'm like, man, I know toys. I know I always have a pretty good inclination of the niche of certain things. I'm like, there's a line of Joe stuff that's coming out right now that has the worst weapons ever. And I just asked him, can you model the receiver of an AK-47? I sent him the reference material. And literally 2 hours later, he had a perfect replica of the receiver of an AK-47, like that stamped receiver. So immediately I'm like, if you can make that, we have 7 or 8 variations right off the bat.
Yeah.
With AK, different sizes of Dracos and stuff. So I kind of put him on assignment for that, and we never looked back. It's a crazy. I wish I could tell you there was some drawn out process, but we got a little shop, a really small little shop. I think we started with like 2 machines, and him and I were sitting looking at each other, and we were like, well, what do we make? so
basically, you love G.I. Joe, obviously.
I was huge
and just basically, like a lot of us, completely dissatisfied with their weapons. And even if they get the molding right, then it's gummy worms that are just ass.
Exactly. Yeah. You could tell like the content was wrong, right? All those airsoft ones or the Nerf stuff. So the content wasn't right, and then the models were just wasn't making any sense. And a lot of us older guys that have been around now, it's hard to go into a collection of a line that's that nostalgic and that was so good back then. In the 80s, the weapons were weapons for the most part. Through the first 3 or 4 years, they were legit. So we all learned, weapons from that. And, I would have to say, I'd love to see the statistic of the recruiting tool of how many vets came out of that toy line. Because I remember I had my best friend and I, we were both in ROTC, man. We were going to go in the Army because we wanted to be a G.I. Joe. It was all that stuff.
Sure.
And my best friend ended up going in. I ended up getting married right away and missed that whole window. And I think there's still parts of me that would have loved that, But we just.
I'd be curious to that. Yeah, I'd like to know like that, like if there's some sort of a number out there, what that number would be.
I always have, because I can tell you right now, on demographic or at least logistics of customers that we have. I mean, we'll take on maybe 5,000 new customers a year, and I would say 75% of them are vets.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, and I love every one of them, man. I'll have personal conversations with so many people, and I'll never stop, because that to me is why I'm even in this. And the stories are fantastic. reason behind why they collect it all and what purpose we have in their bigger picture is dude, it's just an honor. So I'm always, every time, I get a new calls and says, hey man, they were in Iraq or however, and they're enjoying, getting the phalanx, right? The striker, right?
Yeah.
We had a striker unit that has like a big old, like a Facebook fan page of, it's all the guys that worked on the crew, the striker crews, and they have a big old fan page. Just awesome. Like they, when they're chiming in going, thanks for making this for us. Dude, it's a huge honor for us. So
no doubt.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to put that into words.
Yeah, it is. And I just got off the phone with one probably 2 hours ago. And yeah, it's humbling. It's humbling because, it's all toys. I know a lot of people just wants to look at this as, they're just toys. I think Hasbro, without casting shade, I think that's some of the biggest problem is that they don't see I don't think they feel the psychological effects of what the toy line means to a lot of people.
I agree. And I think because of that, no shade on, again, like we're talking about, you see the people that are passionate, right? I fully believe Lenny is completely passionate about classified. Absolutely. But that's not, it's just Lenny. Then it's the production and marketing. And it's that again, art by committee where that's gets lost. Oh,
and I've directly dealt with them on a bunch of different levels, and I see it, man. It's Lenny's a good guy. He's always tried to stay in there, but he's also controlled by a certain, there's a structure that he has to answer to.
It's still corporate. It
is. That's why people ask us. It's kind of funny, man. We get I still get the question. It doesn't happen as often as it was early on, but the question was always, so when are you guys going to injection mold stuff? Like when you, and it was implied in the sense that when are you guys actually going to become a real company? And I think I still see it happen a couple times. I think I've answered the question enough the right way that I think people understand now, like our strategy, and nothing against, injection molded toys. We love them. It's all a great part of it, but this is an art design movement for us. We don't like our toys. They have there's a hand, not, I want to say handmade thing to it, but the design in which we can create stuff is, I'll stand behind it all day long. We will out design an injection molded part all day long because our ability to have undercuts and have all kinds of things that you can't do on injection molding, even tolerances on certain materials. Now, the big argument will be, well, they're a tougher material. You can use ABS. But what a lot of people aren't understanding is FDM is now moving that way. So, it depends on if you're using just flat PLA or if you're using other things, you might not be as tough as ABS. But we're also, I don't want to say, man, we're adult collectors that aren't going 100%. Around the box anymore.
Sure.
That may happen, and you might want to photograph in a sandbox, but the durability of your product in the middle of the day in an Arizona summer and in a sandbox, I'm not having to really facilitate that. We're not selling that. We're selling a really nice display piece that goes in a case or goes on a shelf, or something you can be proud of. That's a realistic toy, military toy. So,
do you think there's like a negative connotation? Like I'll use the word boutique a lot. Like I'm like, this is a boutique item. Do you think there's a negative connotation with that word?
I don't ever take it that way because I it's hard, man. When you see, I get it that Hasbro on their level, they're $1 billion company. They need to produce 50,000 of something. I get it. We don't have to, so we can stay profitable and operate a family business and not have a ton of overhead, but we can do that without having to sell 50,000 units.
Sure.
And if I can get you, and you're looking at the phalanx in your, in front of you.
Yep.
The quality of that phalanx. I mean, I can argue that is as good or better than some of the other vehicles that are out there. I mean, I can still argue that point. I think our detail
just from a detail standpoint, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think you probably wouldn't throw it across the room.
No.
But at the same time, it isn't a styrene model, so it's not like it's going to crumble in your hands. But
I can tell you, as I was handling it, like I was like trying to put like the baskets on initially.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, it feels like I'm forcing it. Screw this. Went to Alan the Collector's video, and I'm watching him. I'm like, man, he just muscled it on. And when I bam, it just locked in. Like, okay, because I was like, yeah.
And for that, like there might be, because in 3D printing you have layer lines, so you're creating kind of an obnoxious amount of separations if you don't know how to design it. Sure. So we design with that, and we actually use that in our strength. So how we design is built on that model printing the right way that makes it the strongest it can be.
Man, Scott is really locked in on getting this Gridiron snowmobile. He really needs it.
He's willing it into existence.
Yeah, he sent me something on Instagram, which I'm not going to look at now, Scott, but I'll look at it later. He's locked in, man. He's locked
everything
in.
he said about the phalanx, and the potential, like, it could be fragile. You wouldn't recommend dropping. I wouldn't recommend dropping my Robo Skull either. Like,
exactly. That's
that's not how I treat things, because I'm not 5 years old anymore.
That's right.
Like, it's
you just the point.
Handle it like it's a $300 or $400 piece of equipment. Like, I'm gonna kind of baby it. I'll take it outside, but when I come inside, I'm gonna wipe its paws and put it back on the shelf.
Well, it's funny how it sounds funny when you say that, right? You kind of like, I'm saying that, but the reality is, I mean, this is a $400 toy. Yeah. I mean, it's a $400 model, and you're not paying for. I mean, you go into any other. I don't want to say Star Wars, because there's a lot of the similar type of collectors in there. Let's say Robotech or Voltron or any of those. You're not going to put those $300, $400, $500 models and go throw them around the room. You just won't.
No.
And you won't put them in your sandbox, and you won't. You're still going to be an adult collector with them. So I think it's like, it's a hard one for me, because we want to make a durable product. And we definitely feel confident when it leaves our shop that we want you to be proud of it too, right?
And this was packed well, by the way. If anybody, you're going to get this. I mean, it's going to be double boxed. There's all kinds of packing in there. Everything in it is packed inside it with bubble wrap. So,
and we also try to get, there was an argument kind of went around that was, well, Gridiron doesn't have premium packaging, and I try to, we try to just suck that one up and not respond. But all that stuff costs money. And when you're already arguing that, oh, man, these are just too expensive. If I start laying on big, elaborate, boxes with flashy art on it, that you're going to be paying for something that we're not an in-box collection,
See, that's why I appreciate. Like, if you're an in-box collector, then there's lines for you.
Absolutely.
If you're an inbox collector, this is not the line for you.
That's right. And there's part of my collections that I do like to keep stuff in a package. The packaging is nostalgic or whatever. But this isn't that. This is a hands-on collection. We want you to really put your hands on these. We want to have, like you mentioned, photography. That's a huge goal for us. I'm big on toy photography, so I like to make something that gives something back to the photographer to make.
Yeah. Interested to have a question on that. Yeah, back in the day, day one Hasbro had access to make official weapons, but I think they'd have to pay licensing fees to make HK, Brown and Colt, Smith and Wesson, etc. Is that a thing? Licensing fees?
I've heard this argument before, but you can't. How do I put it nicely? You can't not make an AR. A base AR model, you wouldn't infringe, because it's all been around since Vietnam. It's been around a lot longer, and there's how many versions of it. So to say that Hasbro couldn't have made an AR kind of variant model They didn't have to make everything exact, but that's not an excuse for them not making something that at least looks like a real, working mechanism,
It was, and say for you, so you don't have to worry about the licensing fees because of that. There's so many variations on like an AK-47, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and like a base AK model. I mean, there's a ton of different brands of that. We just stay very generic. It's a Gridiron AK-47.
Yeah.
So when any of these guns come up, most of these models are pretty old. Now, there's newer models that we have that will have something that kind of mimics a Desert Eagle or that kind of thing. But
Sure.
At the same time, we're still I don't want to say a hobby level craft business, but we're that's where the boutique part of this comes in.
Yep.
Where Hasbro, they're a big target, right? At $1 billion company, if they do anything that does that, they have a hard time with that. But
then cease and desist, and sorry, now you got to pay royalties.
Right. And I know,
speaking of paying royalties, by the way, Scott, war chest full of toys, $5. When I popped my hand apart, I almost shit my pants. But the custom paint Night Force looks epic, soon to be shown.
Nice.
Thanks, Scott.
Attaboy.
And then Gun Bunny, by the way, who does amazing work on vehicles. His vehicles are just...
Yes, he does.
So, yeah, apparently he's got a client's phalanx that he's going to paint it. We're going to paint it. Can you talk about a Gun Bunny?
Hot pink.
He does such good Tiger Force stuff, man. I'm not a Tiger Force fan, and he makes me want to have a Tiger Force army.
You got to appreciate the craft,
I don't like Tiger Force or Python Patrol, but when he makes it, it's like, son of a bitch, that's awesome.
Yep. And he's done a lot of our vehicles, and I'm just like, man, they're good stuff.
Oh, yeah, then Lord of Brooklyn, when you coming out with that Gridiron shirt?
This one?
Apparently.
We're hoping to have him out by Christmas, actually, on the site.
Hell yeah. We got Abby in the chat. What's up, Abby? Let's see. I had a couple more over here. I know, yeah, Van Morrissey talked about that. Let's segue into this kind of whole relationship deal here. He says can't wait for his Monster Force Gridiron Mark figure. What is it? It's called? What is it? Commander Gridiron, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys want to go into that right now. We can.
I would say if we want to get into that, I'd like to. Mike, you got that picture?
This one?
That's one right there. This is cool. Like, as we were looking at everything coming out, like, San Diego.
Yeah.
And I saw this, I was like, that's just badass. Like, not even knowing you, by the way. Like, not knowing anything about you.
Yeah.
Before we even talked about doing this, I saw this. I was like, that's badass. Like, that looked like an old man Slade Wilson, right? That looked like, his dad.
That's
like, I could see, his uncle or something, some relative of Slade Wilson. I was like, I'm going to buy this, like, right off the bat. How cool is that to be an homage?
Oh, dude, the whole thing has been first of all, like when Bill came to us to do weapons for them, I was I mentioned this before. We usually, and I'm not to knock anybody, we typically say no. We have a lot of people that are always coming to us to have them, have us do their stuff. Yeah. But we're just so busy. We're on our own toy line, our own design time, and it almost doesn't make sense if you come to us and make something. The price that we're gonna have to charge is taking out of all. If we have to stop all of our own stuff to make something, it just doesn't work out feasibly. And we've had unbelievable offers. I mean, we're really generous offers. So we typically say no. But Bill, he came on pretty early on, and I was ready to say no, and he sent me some I think it was some artwork of the kind of comic panels and some kind of concept stuff behind what the story was. And this is something nobody even saw coming. This was were probably it's probably been 2.5 years now or something. And so I talked to my guys, and we just said, you know what? Let's do this one. Like, let's do the weapons. They had they'd already done Series 1 weapons. And so they were coming for us to kind of improve on that and create more realistic weapons and stuff that would be cool. And so we went to work on them, and we worked out this great deal where, you know, we didn't have to worry about a front end. We were just more on a back end for product. And because we thought, okay, if we get behind this line, we want to be able to sell this line. It'd be nice to have on the site a little, you know, area for figures that worked, that had our stuff with them.
Sure.
So yeah, we just kind of stuck it out and started doing it, and we did a lot of weapons. And then we were talking one night, and Bill and I were like, I think you guys had him on the show, right? Already?
Yeah, we had Bill and Mike.
Yeah, and Mike's a good guy too, man. They're really, really good. And we were talking, and it all kind of came about that Monster Force had all these factions going on. You know, there's all these different kind of, you know, players that are kind of pushing, you know, a different agenda. And so the thought was there was no Destro, right?
Yeah.
There was
no arms dealer.
No arms dealer. And even though all of them were getting the weapons and equipment from somebody, and so it kind of just came up that, well, what if Gridiron was the weapons dealer, since they're making them anyway? And we have kind of a,
that's a great story, man. It just fits in perfectly.
It makes a lot of sense.
And it was odd because it was such a new thing, you know, like to actually have something like this happen, where the real life people that are designing the weapons are actually the action figures story. So to have that translation and to have the faction actually be Gridiron was just, it was cool. It was humbling again, because, man, you know, that brand has grown by having such a strong base. And because you got to think, like, you don't throw this kind of idea out there without recognizing that there's going to be people that will appreciate what Gridiron has been and what they're doing, you know, so to even want to buy the figure. And we've had just unbelievable feedback. And so,
oh yeah, everything on the armor, the loadout, everything, it looks badass on that thing.
And that was part of the deal, is that I would have some kind of say in how the thing would be made or how it would look. And Bill was awesome about that. He's like, just pick what you want to go on. How do you want it to look? And we'll go with it. And so we kind of picked this Gridiron looking, you know, older guy, a good looking guy, by the way.
Sure. Yeah. Very, very handsome, very rugged.
In his prime.
Very handsome, yeah. And, you know, the funny part was, you know, I've had ever since, and if you've looked at our history a little bit, we did a set called Alcatraz. That was like a case that had some canisters with the little green pearls in it.
Little green pearl, like from The Rock.
Exactly. And so I've had in my head the whole time that if we ever did figures, we would make that. If you remember that movie at all, there was this great kind of expatriate, you know, vibe of these kind of special forces, Marines or whatever, that kind of got together to do something that they thought was right.
Yeah.
No, it was horribly wrong, right? It was one of those things.
Ed Harris was amazing in that movie.
He was amazing. So when I looked at it, I'm like, Commander Gridiron is just the Ed Harris version with my head on it. So we all went together. And so that was it. And we went forward. And then this figure, the one you have pictured right now, I had kind of reached out and said, hey, you know, we were planning on doing our own line of figures at some point. And Bill and the Big Bad crew has been so awesome, like very like just, hey, however you want it, Mark, let's do this. And what do you think? And I reached out and said, hey, man, we need to do a line. And right away, he was just like, what do you want? What are we thinking? Let's do something. And we kind of hashed out this Gridiron Warfare, which is like just, it's for the love of army building is what it is. There's not going to be a lot of heavy character-driven stuff. It's really cool concepts. You can see kind of this, you can almost see the throwback, the homage, the little, you know, head nod to The Rock.
Yeah.
The old 80s urban camo, right? A lot of flat blacks, a lot of just really cool kind of urbanized, militia soldiers of fortune kind of guys. So that's how it came to be. And we're just so happy with how it looks. And we've been working on packaging now with Bill. He's been sending over stuff. So this line is going to be just really cool. We're excited about it.
So that's what I was interested in. Like, how did that whole relationship with Bill come about?
Yeah, it was literally, he just reached out, and I almost said no. Like, it was funny. I was almost like automatic, like, no, sorry.
Like, had you talked to him before? Like, I'm talking like the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah, like
he just reached out, like he just like loved your weapons. It was like, hey, you know what? We need to step our weapons game up. We think you're the guy. Yeah,
and we had kind of shot to the top, on as far as like weapons designs. We were kind of considered that we were going to be we were the expensive version of most of the weapons that were out there because we were putting a lot into the designs and how they were made. But the weapons were uncanny. Like you were any of our weapons put up against most of the other companies out there at the time, there just was a big disparity. So I think our brand kind of stood out, and he gave us a call, and that was it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because Bill's awesome. Just talking to him, meeting him that first time. Again, I think it might be our age, not to
No, I get you.
Drop our ages here, but we're all about the same age.
Yeah, well, that's how we know that's how you can kind of know, like, if you get their age, you can tell where they're at in the whole thing, because it's if they tell you their favorite version of Snake Eyes is version 2, you already know who you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, 100%. You get that whole thing from. I would say so. Other than G.I. Joe, what's your next one? What's the next favorite line that you have like all the nostalgia for?
I mean, I'm a big Star Wars guy. I mean, I always have been, and
that shows with some of the crossover weapons you do. That comes through.
And that's
the mashups.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very that's a deep. I think in a lot of us at this age, especially if you're over 50, there's always a dual kind of collection thing going on.
It was until G.I. Joe came out, and I had my Star Wars, and I said, "You go over here now." And now all my G.I. Joes are on all my Star Wars vehicles.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there is, and I think once we started kind of catching on that, we're going to be able to have we're going to leave a mark right here. We could feel it. We were creating some cool stuff that was actually going to be part of this universe, And that's at that point I started Star Wars stuff kind of went on the back burner. Even my 118, I was a huge 118 guy, and I still am at heart. That all that's on the back burner, So like most of us, man, kind of fell in love with all this, the 6-inch stuff.
Sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, now when I got back into it, like a lot of people, was COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose Mark?
Hold on, there I am.
There we go. Getting back into it, again, there's a story, but eventually my wife was like, "Hey, you don't have a creative outlet. Why don't you get back into collecting?" And then it was immediately I was like, "Oh, what's this classified? Oh, what's this? This is cool."
Yeah.
So I just missed the Cobra Island. Like I got it was the tail end of that where I'm like this army builder you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't get an army builder. Why isn't Hasbro making Cobra troopers and officers like there's no tomorrow?
That's right. Totally. I know. Yeah. It is crazy time because I feel like the same thing. Like I fortunately got in. I got that first line. I got that first Snake Eyes. I mean, I was such a Joe guy, and I've been a toy guy for a long time. I mean, I think I stopped for about in high school. It was that typical story, like the girls started coming along, and you're like, hey, can't have that going on. Where my,
I did it.
Talk about toys.
Screw that. I still did
it. You must have that real high confidence level.
I just was real dumb.
Well, I remember one of my friends brought we were like 8th grade or something, and he brought a figure to school. And I remember I was petrified. Like I was like, what have you done?
What have you done?
What have you done? You have done something that now has marked us forever.
You have broken what could not be broken.
Exactly.
Worlds colliding.
We were at a drinking fountain, and he like kind of brought it out and showed me, and then like tied me into the conversation. So it was bad.
Oh my God. There's a segue for this would be the first time I met my wife is we had our buddy Rick who was trying to figure out how to date girls, and we were playing Shadowrun at the time.
Oh yeah.
D&D, right? RPG.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know. Did you play Shadowrun, Mark?
I didn't. I was an old D&D guy, so
okay.
from high school. But then I got married so young. I got married right out of high school at 19, and never looked back. We were married 34.
We were about to become best friends if you played Shadowrun. I was going to kick Bill to the curb, and you were my new best friend.
Dang it, man.
But yeah, we went up. We told Rick. I said, Rick, now listen to me. That can't be the first thing out of your mouth. Don't bring that shit up. Okay. Later, we're going to talk about things we have in common. I guarantee you it will not be Shadowrun. Okay. So we went up to my not knowing is my future wife and her roommate. We walk up to him and literally it was Homer Simpson. Rick goes, "We play Shadowrun." I'm like, what? What's that? And now directed to me, he's like, "Tell her." I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
What have you done?
What have you done? That same scenario happened where I'm like, God,
oh, yeah.
How do I segue out of this? So I'm like, well, we really like art, like, Boris Vallejo and his protege, like Julie Bell, who she knew. Oh, I can salvage this. Cool. Okay.
Totally, man. That, it's funny because my encounter. So I got married at 19. It was 1991, and I had a box. All my Joes were perfectly packaged in little plastic bags, all complete, almost the entire line. No vehicles, just the figures. And man, they were in a those old glittery blue suitcases. Kind of from the 70s, that kind of baby blue. Almost.
Oh my God! Yeah, yeah.
You don't even see them anymore. They're old, probably made with asbestos, right? They were old. They were.
That's how you knew it worked.
Asbestos was the bestest. Yeah.
And I remember telling her one night. I think I was about 21, so we were married for a couple of years, and I was Mr. Cool Guy. She was marrying a dreamer, just full of love and life, and
romantic.
It's one to have a family, and I pulled out this. I told her one night. I'm like, okay, I think I have something to tell you.
She's in too deep now. You're like, I got her.
Yeah, you can't leave at this point. I got you.
I had the hook thing pretty hard, and she had fallen for me, so I knew I had her. I was like, she's in. And I was sitting there on the couch, we're watching a show, and I just looked over with that like welled up tear in my eye. And I said, "There's something I have to tell you."
The dark secret.
And
I collect action figures.
So she was like, "What? And I go out. I'm like, I got to go get it, and just have an open mind. I'm kind of giving her the whole layout.
Have an open mind.
He's gonna come back with a crack pipe, and she's gonna be like, "I can't believe this."
It's a crack pipe. It's a body part. It's something.
Exactly. And and I was like really looking at it like, man, that. I think afterwards, and we joke about it all the time, like it could have been a lot of horrible things. But I come in with my, Frank Sinatra blue suitcase, and I open this suitcase, and she looks down, and she's like, "Are those dolls?" Man, right then, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a long life."
No, they're action figures. Dolls have removable clothing.
Exactly. These are action figures, honey. Let's look at it real clear, real careful. And then it was kind of a big joke that the running joke that I held out. The one secret in my closet was a freaking box of Joes.
That's an awesome story.
And now it's an empire. Eat my shorts.
But you know what it was too, man. I think what brought it out was I had a horrible job when we were first married, and I think I was like, it was one of those things where I was stressing out so bad, and I was like, I went back to school for art and industrial design and then sculpture. And I knew toys was something I needed to do in my life. And And so I was telling her all this stuff, and then it started to make sense. Like once she saw really how it was,
Yeah.
So it was good, man. It was good.
So then was she supportive when you sat there and was like, I think I want to like make toys for a living?
Dude, 1999, I started my first website called Build-A-Rama. And I came home one day, there was a line of toys, 21st century toys. I'd been making these miniature, like really cool World War II toys. And I started, like most people were kind of getting back in around episode 1, 95, the orange card stuff. And, it was kind of that weird little window in there where like 98 rolled around and I'm like, what am I doing, man? I need to make toys. I need to go back to this dream. And so I told her I was going to go back to school and figure that out. And ended up going back for sculpture and then ended up being a freelance sculptor coming out of school for a long time through the 90s. And I never looked back. It was art from then on. And it was, I was a clay sculptor, and then I went right into, different kinds of model making and diorama building and all that stuff. And we ended up building crazy stuff, like stuff for like Jimmy Fallon's show. When he first got on, like all the late night stuff, we did his backdrop that was behind his, his desk. And
really?
Stuff. Oh, wow. That was weird, man. We did things for like, nuclear bases, and Lockheed Martin was having us do like a diorama about a miniature, nuclear waste thing. I mean, crazy stuff.
That's interesting.
Well, I, for one, am a big fan of Lockheed Martin, and they've done no wrong.
Nope.
SR-71 Blackbird, my favorite plane of all time.
Yep. There's 50,000 drums of nuclear waste buried somewhere, but I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that with 3D printing. So that first 3D printer, like when that came out, were you like, did you know right away, like this is it, this is the future?
Well, I could tell you, I started working at a company, and in between, I got to a point in my career where I was the shift of sculptors were kind of all of a sudden there was I don't know if you guys remember like the Toy Biz time, and there was a pretty cool, like McFarlane was on the scene, all this great like sculpting was going on, and I had done some stuff for Into Toys, and I was kind of just getting in on that stuff. And then all of a sudden that it all disappeared. It was weird. It kind of all went to China. And the art part all of a sudden dissipated. All the guys and the sculptors that were left behind were kind of remnants that were then starting their own businesses real quick. And because most of the, actual like sculpting that was being done on the figures were now outsourced. There was a lot of companies like Art Asylum, Digger Mesh, all these guys that were just rock stars, like really, really good sculptors, the artists in the industry, right? And I remember coming on all excited about that movement and having my head was clear, my goals were clear. I had some kids at home, so things had to be serious pretty fast. And man, once it hit, I was like, it all of a sudden dissipated. I had to figure something out. So I went back and I noticed the one element I was missing was tooling. And understanding tooling.
Yeah.
Nobody was really teaching it in school at all. So and as a sculptor, I would be a freelance sculptor. I would make a piece out of Chavant or Castelline or any of that stuff back in the day. And we'd send a model out, and you got paid like the $5,000, let's say $4,000 to $5,000. And then it'd be gone. Like you wouldn't see another job for 4 months.
Yeah.
And with kids, you're not going to survive on that. So it kind of got to where I'm like, I got to start my own stuff. And by the time 99 rolled around, I saw that 21st century toy line. And I was like, man, I came to my wife and I'm like, we need to make sandbags.
I love that. We need to make sandbags.
We can make sandbags. And I asked her, do you have a sewing machine? And can you make a sandbag that's like that big? And because I looked at the World War II line and I looked at all of my reference, and I'm a big historian guy. I looked at it and I'm like, man, there's like 10 sandbags to every guy that was in the war. So if you made a sandbag, you were probably as a pretty good product to start with on dioramas, and nobody had done it. And I had they had done it in 1/6 scale for the big guys.
Yeah.
But at 118, nobody was even thinking that way. And so I kind of shifted my art and my toy design to making dioramas for this company. And I got deep in. I started making models for them. I started doing some of the structural stuff, like the buildings. They had some buildings, and they started taking those to Toy Fair. And then, they invited us everywhere. 21st, we kind of became pretty close with them. And then they saw rock bottom and kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. And they had so many different outlets at the time. They were really killing it. Their game was killing it between Toys R Us, Walmart, and Target. They were everywhere. So I felt like I got it. And the only way I could survive it is having my own customer base.
Yeah.
I just shifted that way, and Build-A-Rama ended up running almost 500 products deep. Everything from drums to crates to buildings to rubble piles to just anything.
I think we can actually, I'll do a couple more questions. But yeah, I do want to take a look at the website. Greg Harris had this earlier. Sorry, Greg, it took so long. Hey, Mark, any new Elite Operator sets coming out of the vault anytime soon? I missed the Operator 10 or any new sets. I love the cased weapons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, man, absolutely. There's the Elite Operator sets. They're like our elite weapons. They're like taking the best possible replica, broken down sights and silencers and stocks, and all put into a really nice gun case, like a Pelican case. And we went in and we did a new version, and that came out. I think he's probably already seen it. We had a couple of them that came out with the Hounds, and we are absolutely continuing that line. We're just trying to get past the phalanx. Once we get past that, we can go back and start hitting some of those Elite Operator sets.
Once you're not going to stop making the phalanx, or is there a window where you stop making it?
No, we've decided when we started pushing through and seeing that we're not third party anymore, these now are becoming a standard, at least as long as we can do it is him as a standard part of our collection. So we want collectors that come on board, new, old. We hate playing that whole game, with the urgency, and we'll do it a little bit on some things because we know it's harder to keep in stock. But we said these main base items: the Hound, the phalanx, and basically even our accessories for like the Stinger and the Vamp. We try to keep all that going, so that anybody coming on can do that stuff right away.
Well, I will. Yeah, you say that. So the Vamp, like this gun, you want to talk about being disappointed. Like, I love the Vamp, right? And as it was, I was okay with it. This thing sucks. The design of it sucks. It's just not straight. They didn't have a platform off the back, until the Stinger, which I don't even think actually clips onto this. I haven't tried. Like, none of this made sense to me, where like the original pom-poms in my head canon, I was always like, well, obviously it's radio controlled, obviously.
Yeah.
So this thing came out. I'm like, well, that's done. And I haven't done this, but I'm going to shoot a video because I put these on my Stingers already.
Oh, sweet. The upgrade
tires. The upgraded tires on this. Now, again, I was one of these people too, by the way. They were like, oh, Gridiron's too expensive, and I'm getting to collect it. I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. You know what I paid for this Vamp? Why am I going to do that? Well, then I'm at, like, I think it was Terrificon with, again, Dan, Rollkeeper, Woody 222, those enablers. Well, they started showing me pictures of shit, and I'm like, that's fucking cool. I want cool stuff. Why not me?
Once you put the tires like on the Stinger or the Vamp, like, you realize that there's just so much more to that. Like that that even if you just are spending that $40, man, that's the upgrade that at least takes it to another level. And then armament and the roll cage, like that was a no-brainer. Like that was a move that should have happened already.
Yep. 100%.
Really, Hasbro, to be honest with you, I mean, we're always grateful, man. It never seems to fail. Like, Hasbro always sets us up. It doesn't matter.
They always get part of the equation and leave the rest to Gridiron.
Exactly. It's almost like we're starting to think being built into the design now because it's so obvious. Like you're like, why? I mean, some of it's just rough.
I love the treble bubble, right? And initially you showed pictures, the lower leg. I'm like, nah, dog, that's not for me. And I think it might have been Tony. Like, you just wait. Like, what am I waiting for?
Yeah.
Well, then the upper, I'm like, oh shit, well, I gotta have that. Give me that. I want that. That thing just looks cool. I mean, they're like, you're not gonna fly. Well, in my headcanon, I'm like, this is almost like a battle mech or battle tech back in the day, the old FOSSA game where it's gonna be like a jump deal. Yeah.
Totally.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, and I think, man, it's like that kind of stuff to me. Like, that's the part of this that's fun. After being a toy designer for the last 25, 30 years, you start going, okay, that's like you start when you're looking at like the trouble bubble. I looked at it and we were talking and we wanted to make some mech stuff. Like, how cool would it just be to put some legs on trouble bubble as if it was a walker, like that was a cockpit for a walker.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun because there's all these openings, like if we execute correctly, we're thinking right in the mainstream with everybody else going, oh, that makes sense, Yep. And price is always like, I get that there's going to be a struggle on that because you're trying to analyze it towards or against like retail, like what does a normal, thing cost at Walmart? And it's apples and oranges. It's not the same system and it will never be. So I think once you start understanding, okay, these people are having to make small numbers. They're having to design for a lot less volume, but they're putting everything into the actual design to make it something very unique. That's why that cost is there. I mean, it's, and we've been from the beginning, man. I mean, our motto, and we talk, this is the funny part about this story. I'll give you a little side story. When we were in our little tiny shop, we were starting to make these weapons. It took us about 6 months to really get our proprietary mix. We made our own mix of resin to get that weapon to be not brittle and not gummy.
Okay.
Sure.
And we called it right off the beginning Flex Rigid, right? It was just this great where you can look at some of our early guns and go, man, it looks and feels like it's injection molded. But it's not, but we were able to produce in a way that we could have all these like floating, like foregrips and, you could get like barrels that were just isolated. Like they didn't have to be connected to anything. I mean, just really cool stuff. And, shields like heat shrouds that aren't, they're horrible undercut on an injection molding, but, works really good on the 3D.
So you don't really even see yourself transitioning to do an injection mold.
No, right off the bat. I mean, I'm talking within 6 months, we all looked at each other. And mind you, this is the early days. So this like Colin, hey, come on board as kind of production, director. And Quaid was full swing in the designing of all these weapons. And, right now we have 660 weapons or 660 SKUs.
Not 666 yet. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're getting there.
Over 5-year span, 4.5, 5 year span. So crazy numbers. I mean, that's almost 100 SKUs a year, or over 100 SKUs a year. And in that first couple months, we were looking at each other. All three of us kind of had a meeting out in the it's 120 degrees in the shop with no air conditioning. We're looking at each other and we're like, okay. I think one of them said something like, so should we just make, really, economic, affordable, cheap weapon? And it was where the old dad has to step in. And there was a lesson to be learned. It was that lesson of we're never going to make anything cheap because we'll never be able to compete with the people that are making it as affordable as possible. Right.
You get what you pay for would be the whole thing, I would say.
Yeah, like an economic, they'll be popping out injection molded guns for, nothing, right? There's, penny a piece.
Yep.
It struck me really fast that the lesson here is we're never going to be the cheapest, but we'll be the best. We can always strive to be the best. It's gonna cost whatever that costs.
Yeah.
That's as long as when we make our, we have our margins, we have our costs, we have our sheet. It's all very structured. It isn't like, hey, let's look at this thing, or hey, maybe the phalanx looks like it could be $400. No. Every single piece is itemized. Every single piece is structured. We know exactly the margin it is on a gun. It just is now a lot of labor and a lot of other stuff. So we really, right off the bat, and the boys looked at me and we all agreed, let's never strive to be the cheapest. That'll be a waste of time for us.
Yeah.
Let's make sure every ounce of effort we put into this business is striving to make the best possible design and hold us accountable for it. The one thing you can say about Gridiron is there's not a lot of talk about how bad our designs are, right?
Never.
Not I've ever heard.
Yeah, you don't ever hear that. You'll hear, "Oh man, they're expensive," but
that's it. That's the only thing I ever hear is that.
So think of Hasbro. This is a $1 billion company, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear somebody say something like, "Man, that design is no good," or "That design wasn't really that well." We're the opposite of that.
And the construction is crappy. It's gummy. If they nail it here, then it's they screw it up here.
That's right. And we were at Comic-Con, obviously, and I picked up the Ostriker, and oh man, I mean, it almost, I haven't been ticked off to this point. Like every product I've bought, I've been, whether it sucked or not, or it wasn't that great, I was like, okay, cool, we'll make something cool for it, and it'll be awesome, right? Falcon.
Yeah.
We made a really cool Ranger loadout and a really, that kind of thing. So if you change the head, you're good.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking at the Ostriker and I felt offended. I mean, for the first time in 5 years, I buy everything. I buy everything in multiples because we usually rip them apart and look at how they're made and see what's going on and what can we do to, add something cool. I get this Ostriker back to the hotel room, and I am sick to my stomach. I'm like looking at this going, this isn't just like a slap in the face. It's like, every collector out there should be insulted. Every Joe fan should be insulted at what we had to pay for. Now, guys will all day long go, well, your hound is $200. Mm-hmm. So ask anybody that has a hound, was it worth it or not? Are you happy with are you happy with what your $200 bought you?
Yeah.
Because I know I wasn't happy for the first time in what my $100 bought from Hasbro.
Again, I'm gonna keep saying it ad nauseum, is you get what you pay for.
Yeah. And so I got $100 piece of garbage, and so then I'm looking at it going, well, the hound is $200.
I would got $100 crankcase. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just rough. And I think at that point, I got a little upset one night and I did that pile. I literally had the Ostriker like in a pile, like it was falling apart. And so I finally I got all ticked off and just started trashing it. And it ended up in this pile of junk. And I had to cue the Sanford and Son theme and throw that out there. And I'm usually not like that, man. I'm pretty, I hold on to everything, so.
Yeah, Tony's backing me up on that one. I didn't get it because I didn't have any nostalgia for it. Like, I didn't like the design as a kid either.
Yeah. Oh, I like the original Ostriker, but that's not what that is.
No, it's so.
No.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like to me, the hound is, it's a Gridiron hound. This isn't an Ostriker. This is our thing. But if you want to replace that for your Ostriker, I get it. Like, it makes sense. And it made me feel a lot more, hey, we need to make this thing really cool, because it's a great vehicle, and it easily fits that in. How you get your crankcase, whether you're going to have a customizer working on it or you're going to make it, there's ways to get a crankcase. So
we might know a guy.
Hey, how you doing?
hey, Mikey, JMK Custom Works. How are you doing over there?
So there you go. And that, if you make a nice custom crankcase, I mean, there's a lot of guys with hounds out there, a lot. So, there is, I think there's just something to that. But yeah, I feel like those kind of things to me, we've lit I think most everybody now that has been with us and has gotten product and understands what we're doing, we don't hear the price thing as much. We hear a lot more. Everybody has so much gratitude.
You're hearing from people who haven't purchased your product, is what I would say.
Oh, and that's really just I understand. It's a learning experience too, right? You're seeing a different type of product and a different type of mechanism and strategy that hasn't been seen that way.
When I got the vamp and I outfitted the vamp, I was like, oh shit! I was fine with the price point. I was fine with everything. I was like, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
That's right.
Because it just took my vamp to that next fucking level for me. It's like, I'm not doing this for anybody else.
Right.
I'm doing this for me.
That's right. Yeah. And I get it, man. If you can't afford something, I understand. I mean, trust me, we're fighting for you. And because I've been there, I know a lot of people have. If you get a product, or if you're wanting a product so bad and you just can't afford it, we're doing our best to make sure we catalog that product. So right now, like that Phalanx, I want to make sure that people know that's not going to be done in 2 months. I'm holding on to that for a long period of time and allowing guys that I know have to save up for it, or, wait for Christmas, or, whatever they have to do. Sure. But we're not going to pull the rug out from under you. This isn't going to be an elite game of only a certain amount of collectors got to have because they can afford it. That's not ever going to be my game ever. And that's why we stock, I think out of the 600, I think out of at least the 400 weapons we've come up with, I mean, we've only retired maybe a handful, or like, let's say 20 or 30 of them. And most of them are in a different form already. So,
Yeah, I need some of those weight sets to come back. Thanks.
Okay, so that's a different. We took off like in our vault. The reason why we did the vault system. A good segue to this. The reason why that vault system exists is because we kept seeing, guys that could afford them could get them, and then once we, if we were ever going to retire something, I would get emails inundated. Oh, can you please just, can you hold on another week? I got to get a paycheck or something.
Yeah.
And I would do it. I would just say, yeah, man, we'll keep it out another week. So finally I decided, you know what? We're done retiring stuff. We don't have to play that game. We don't have to do the same Vala does, or whoever else is out there that's trying to create this urgency for their product. All we have to do is put it in the vault and let everybody know it'll come out again. It's going to come out. Those like that Gridiron Throne.
Yeah.
We just brought it out 2 months ago, 3 months ago, for I think its second run. And we try to leave it out there for at least, like a month or two. Everybody that had a chance to get it could get it. If you didn't, don't worry. It'll come out again,
Well, I'm glad, because that, again, I was like, that throne's too expensive, right? Because I ain't got my hands on this. Like, I already got my vamp. And as soon as I got my vamp, like, well, shit, I needed that throne.
Yep.
So now I'm glad I had this show, because I could figure out that you were going to, release this later. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we're trying to do that on everything. So like if something gets retired, or if it's going back to the vault, like that's just like we did the little our little impact, the kind of smaller drones, kind of the little pack ratty kind of drone, right? That 3-pack was came out at the beginning of the year, and we've already brought it out of the vault again. It's out right now. So anybody that missed it in the first time has a chance now, and if you're passing it again, we'll come back again. So
that's good to know. I say, Dirty Nye was asking if you would ever tackle a 1/12 scale Halo Warthog. I mean, that would get into licensing fees unless you did like your own version, like close enough.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, I get it, like, but our hound, I mean, they're like, because as far as because we're talking like, you can customize that into something like that.
Sure.
The Warthog just looks like a Cybertruck with,
yeah, it's more on it. Fenders, and you have a little different fairing going on. Yeah. But it's hard for us to go back in and tool up all that kind of stuff. Do the designs for that.
Well, I think that also answers some of the questions right there, like TC with the medical sets. Would be nice to see it come back.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of people that are waiting for that. And the Doc, when Doc came out, and he was actually pretty good. He had some good accessories.
Yeah.
It made us kind of have to go, okay, we want to kind of redesign some stuff when we bring it out. And that's also been a fun part, is when we go back to looking at a loadout, we can kind of reevaluate now that there's a new figure out. Same thing with the Footloose that's out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our Footloose, our Foot Soldier loadout, we were able to look at, now that Footloose is available, we came out with that loadout like 2.5, 3 years ago. So there was like a Footloose, like if you were making customs, and your customs, that's you could customize a figure, grab a loadout. That's kind of how we met up with Tony, was he could grab a loadout with weapons and slap it onto a figure that he did, custom painted.
Yeah.
And they were great. But so we were kind of servicing the custom community with that. Where let's say the standard collector that doesn't want to customize, he would maybe skip on it. We would try to take pictures that weren't super customized. Throw that loadout on a regular figure and it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. So that loadout's out right now, and it'll probably be ending. Imagine in the next 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah, because the loadouts, that's been popular. Like GI Jetman asking about the Mountaineer loadout.
It's a good one. Yeah.
And that was out about 3 months ago, so that'll probably be out before Christmas. We're hoping.
That's a good one.
And I've
so
seen
you mentioned like
crankcase.
You mentioned crankcase. Do you have a loadout like for crankcase, like with an FAL and a helmet with goggles and that kind of shit?
So I think what we're doing with crankcase, because we already did our mandible helmet is a really nice driving helmet.
Yeah.
We're going to do a desert one. Like we haven't done a desert mandible helmet yet. So we'll probably have that be kind of the helmet. I think we're going to keep them separate because it's really all about his gun, right? That the FN is really kind of like his.
Yes.
Right? So what I did to try to change that up a little bit, because we never liked like a full size. It doesn't make sense for him to have a full size rifle. He's like my grandpa was a Jeep driver in World War II, and I still have all of his gear that he had, and I always loved that he had the marksmanship little, his medallion, his medal. Mm-hmm. And then he had the submachine gun tab under it. And it was because every driver in the military typically has to get certified on that submachine gun. Because they were either carrying like a Tommy back in the day under the dash or under the seat, And so for crankcase.
Or a grease gun.
Mm-hmm. So it was all those submachine gun for drivers, which makes sense. And so for crankcase, immediately it was like, we need that cut down. Basically, the FN pistol, it's the I can't remember the exact model that we were looking at. If you go to our site, you'll see I sneaked a picture of it on the beret when we did the berets just recently.
Yeah.
Plain with no comms. That beret, there's a beret picture with the desert beret on crankcase, and he's standing next to the Hound. And he has that model. We just haven't put it out.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome.
It's a cut down version, very, very
like
short.
That. I mean, that'd be a hell of a squirrely gun to go that short. 308 with a 10-inch barrel would be a beast.
It's what looks cool about it, because you got that big mag on it, and we're still able to put that triangular. So flip through a couple of those. I think it's.
Well, that's going to be the same guy. Let me go back over this way here.
I think it's under look at the buoy one. The boonie hat right there. Yeah, look at that one.
I think that was the same gun we just showed, right?
Yeah,
but honey badger style.
Yeah, flip through those. I think one of those is. Oh man, it's not there. There was one of these during the era that during this release that I took a picture of that gun, and it was just a really cool short version of it.
They've already scrubbed it, man. They already got in there and said, "Nope, you gave too much away. We're taking it out of there."
So, Mark, have you guys ever done a P90?
We haven't. Okay. I think we. Oh, was that it? Go back to
that was back to the original picture I was on.
So go back to that one photo you just had. Is that fourth one over?
No.
No. I must have been like, oh, don't show anybody.
That's what I'm saying. You
we're
got
not ready for that yet. Don't put that out there.
I look at that guy. Yeah, I looked at that guy too.
But yeah, that's it's gonna be cool. That's a cool gun. We did the triangular foregrip, so it's very iconic, you know. So it's you're gonna feel like that's crankcase, a variation.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like when you guys come out with FALs and G36s, it's pretty much a guarantee that I'm going to buy them, because I think both of those are they're totally opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Like the FAL like led revolutions, and here's the G36 is totally polymer gun, space age tech. I love both of them, but they're total opposite ends.
Totally, and I love how I'm Vuncannon. You can tell my heritage is very German. For some reason, man, I every time I see a G36, I just see that like tactical German, SWAT group kind of. Yeah. It feels like they're always armed with that stuff.
Yeah, like was that the G90 and that their SWAT team? Yeah.
Right. So yep.
Guys, I didn't think I was going to say our chat has been on fire with questions, man. I can say that. We're going to have to wrap this up, though, because I do not want to make this a 3-hour show. Because Mikey and I have been known to do that. We're working on not doing it. We're already past the 1 hour 30-minute mark over here.
I don't even care because I'm not working tomorrow. I don't give a shit.
Son of a bitch, I am. And then I'm visiting you, you fuck. I will say this. This is one question I want to get to. This was one where Snowcat, is that the accessories, some spinoffs? Are you waiting to get one in hand?
Yeah, because we'll have to take our measurements to get exact add-ons, because we have add-ons planned for that for sure. I mean, there was some like glaring things missing, right? That everybody, I think the reason why that had such a hard time was it was weird stuff. Like there was, they're adding bacon and eggs, but no top for their troops. It was like weird stuff. It was like, you're not going to have Arctic troopers in the back of that thing that's not undercover. They'll be dead in like 10 miles, right?
It's like a bivouac in the middle of a, Arctic.
Yeah, what are you doing?
You're not going to survive that. Yeah, exactly. So just kind of weird stuff. And this is that other part that kind of goes back to the very beginning of the show. Like we feel like there's a responsibility there. Like there's vets that have been in those harsh conditions that recognize what that means. Like you're not going to, that bivouac isn't going to be a shelter for you at a,
no, man.
No. And you're not going to be out there caring about cooking bacon and eggs on a fire. Like that's not, I think there was a lot of irritation at feeling like Barbie instead of military, Like we didn't.
Yeah, it felt more like Big Jim than it did G.I. Joe for sure.
It did, yeah, definitely. Adventure team,
which could have been cool. I mean, you've got a cavity in the back. If you'd have made it like people make those like the Toyota truck campers, that have really like. If they'd have done something like that, you'd be like, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, I'm a Jeep driver, so like having
you're all about the modular vehicles.
Dude, that's how you get it. Yeah, and I think for me, it's you see some of those things and you're like that drawer, like they were so proud of that drawer pulling out. Can you imagine what it would have looked like if they had, 3 or 4 rifles in that drawer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, everybody would have lost their stuff because it was like they would have been thinking about us or the practicality of the vehicle.
So close to a great idea. Like,
so close.
The execution,
and yet you're pulling out you're pulling out a kitchenette. It's like,
yeah, man.
It's like, yeah, but it comes with Ginsu knives.
Totally
cool, I guess.
My God, man, I still think the Snowcat's cool. I've said this on record. I don't want it because again, so the phalanx, that's a showpiece. I have a spot for it. It goes in with all kinds of other stuff that I've got planned.
Yeah,
I don't have an Arctic themed diorama place that I want to set up where like the polar battle bear, no problem.
Yeah,
I got a spot for that.
Yeah, and we're like we already came out with that snowmobile a while back, but we're looking at a whole redesign. That's why your guys asking with the Impact 45 and the 44.
Yes, several people have been talking about the snowmobile loadout.
Yeah, and that was the two drones that went together to make the snowmobile. We're looking at the redesign of that as a whole, so you don't have to worry about buying two parts. We can keep it more affordable, and it's going to be cool.
Nice.
Guys, I'll say this. I'm going to do my best to wrap this up here in the next few minutes. But what I want to point out is this right here. I thought this was cool. Share this one. I was like, what's this? I like maps.
Yeah.
And this is just a teaser. Is there any information on this?
So this is part of an older set. Like we have these maps.
Okay.
So when so this was crazy. This is a good thing to segue to. The Indiana Jones figure, when that came out, you know how there was just so much like, it was that typical thing. Like Hasbro had a great license to do a great figure, and everything is good except the things that needed to be good were not.
Yeah.
So true. Came along, and this was early on in our days. I think it's probably this. I mean, Gridiron. I would say this was one of the things that kind of launched us a little bit.
Get to there. Oh, hang on, Mark. Something happened right there. Hang on. Try it again.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. I killed the sound for some reason when I switched that.
Are we good?
You're good. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that we had come to this. This figure came out, and it just was missing the things that were good weren't. The things that were supposed to be good weren't.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good stuff to it. You know, it wasn't a bad figure. And so we went right to the big problem, which was that belt, that holster, the belt, and the whip. And we came out with our set, and we just went through so many of those. I mean, I had to have everybody stop everything and just make that set.
Just do this. Make this happen.
Because this is the first time that we had come across a collection and an accessory that was going across the board, where you could be a G.I. Joe collector and still get that Indiana Jones figure.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. All those Star Wars guys still got the Indiana Jones figure. You know, it didn't matter what collection you were in, everybody still got that figure because it was Jones. And so we made that set, and the pistol was awesome. You know, we did the actual, like, I can't remember what year, that little Browning pistol and the flap holster where it actually worked really well. It was scaled really nice. And then we did a wire whip so you could actually put it into shape.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and that was really all throwback to my old, you know, the Build-A-Rama days of doing these dioramas. So like the maps, those were all Build-A-Rama style products that I had for 20 years. So we just kind of did this little mesh of different kind of diorama pieces. Like we did some torches, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's a shame that Indiana Jones didn't come with a torch, right?
Yeah.
So we did the torch, and so we just sold so many of those sets. And that's where the maps all kind of originated from.
Because I just locked into this. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
I want maps.
You got to have a Gridiron cigar, man, when you're reading a map.
You got to.
My God, man, I didn't even see the cigar. That's how zoned in I was. I did. I was like, I want maps. Bring me the map.
I mean,
give me the map. It'll bring you great danger. Great danger, like war chest over here for $2. You mean the snowbill? I won't stop going on about. Thank you.
Yeah, I was telling one of my buddies that like if they really wanted to pay, you know, homage to the fans, that last tier would have been a snowmobile that slid into the back of it, and like it already has a ramp, like the ramp is built into it. Like just think the next step. Nobody's riding in the back of it, but if you could park a recon vehicle,
Kind of like our drones slip into the back of the shirts.
Yeah.
That would have been so smart.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy J, a veteran over here for $4.99. As a vet, I would take the bacon and eggs over weapons every day.
I get it, man. I get it.
Thanks, Jeremy. And then DC gifted one Zakanan membership. DC, you're awesome, sir. Thank you very much. And then I think I'm going to break out my old school one.
New channel member. You son of a bitch.
Thanks, DC. Appreciate it.
Very nice.
But yeah, that I'm going to show off that. And the one is this one before we wrap stuff up is this. This is fucking cool.
These are badass, yeah.
When you sat there, I can't remember. It was on the Instagram picture. Like it was the whole thing from like Black Sails. It just looked like it's like, oh shit, that's some pirate shit right there. That looks fucking badass. Wait, there's barbecue. You got a metallic one over here. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, the Logan one's pretty awesome.
The fact that they don't articulate, I like that.
Well,
because it looks a little more realistic.
Yeah, and it really kind of hits back on that little diorama soft spot I got, right? Quaid had brought this model over. I didn't even know he was working on it. And he brought this over. He's like, what do you think of this? And I looked at it and I took it in my hand because he kind of just dropped it in my hand. And I kind of just threw it on the table like I was rolling dice. And it didn't matter how I threw it. I did it like 3 or 4 times. And it just looked awesome. Like every time was realistic. Every time was like different, weight was scattering it. So then immediately like, Quaid, you know what you got here is we have Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yep.
Because the way you compose the skeleton, you can't really do that with, an articulated skeleton. And most of so then I started looking and I was like, I don't think there's any loose skeletons out there, aside from a Halloween, decor, but you're never going to get it correctly, and they're going to be light and there's there's just a cheesy element to it. So I looked at it and I'm like, we've gotten really successful at doing these chain linked prints where the prints are like a chain is printed all in one row. So when you pull it off the support, it's a functioning chain. So all those chains you see on the Swamp Hound that you're talking about, like with the harpoon and all that stuff, those chains are all functioning printed chains that we paint. So they have a different like weight to them. And he just applied those links to the joints. And it was brilliant because what it did is it allowed total articulation. There's no restriction.
Yeah, you son of a gun.
And
That's what I want to show is that. Yeah, that's just fucking badass.
Yeah, it just allows you to put it wherever you want. So like standing on the throne, just tucked in, it stands there. So
it reminded me of the old school, like there was a skeleton earring that would just kind of dangle. It was kind of built like that. It's exactly what that reminded me of.
That concept. And all he did was create something that we could make affordable enough because there wasn't a lot of assembly that we could put into the paint app. And then it opened us wide open to we're doing deluxe because the feedback on these was crazy. Like we sold so many in that first weekend. I mean, it was probably one of the highest selling single kind of products like that we've ever had. It was everybody was buying it from any collection again.
No, actually, watch this, chat. See this? Boop. Okay.
Thanks.
Because that's gonna happen, and then that's gonna happen, and I'll
regular ones too.
Yeah, and then I'll probably be doing that later. So
that's what I'm gonna do later.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing that. Real quick, speaking of this guy over here, let me get Tony's Figs for $10. Great show, guys. Thanks for having my bro Mark on. Well, Tony, again, thank you for making this, facilitating this, helping that.
Thanks, Tony. Customizers Alliance.
Customizers Alliance. Then this crazy son of a gun is probably drinking. Jacob, what the F are you doing for $99.99? That's why I just bought those skeletons, because I saw this super chat come through. Smart. Happy early birthday, Mikey. Zach, pass this on. I'm not going to. And make sure he spends it on toys, comics, and nonsense. I probably will.
He only gets $70 of that anyway.
That's true. And I take it as a Canon cut, and the rest of it, happy birthday, Mikey.
I'll get $15, I think, is what my cut will be.
You a skeleton. You want a skeleton, Mikey? Jacob, you're awesome.
There's stuff I want to, so I'll just do it. I'll just put an order
in. Mark, is there anything you want to down to the 2 hour mark?
Say it again, man. You kind of got muffled.
Oh, sorry. Is there anything you want to shout out in particular before we close things out?
I just wanted to drop a. We're hoping to have this door face set up. Hopefully tomorrow or for the weekend is the goal. But the thing to really, we started shipping out the Swamp Hounds. The important thing to remember with that is we have a phase 1 and a phase 2 add-ons to that set that I think is going to blow some minds. I mean, there's a phase 2. We're taking the Hound to a whole nother place. So
I'll tell you, before the doors, there was that for my Dreadnoks. I was like, ooh. So now I'm like, oh, Megaforce. And if I do that with my Dreadnoughts too. Jake, if you want to drop another 100, I got some shit I gotta buy. But you know what? This will also help ease that pain. War chest for $2. Did I tell you how much I need that snowmobile?
Now we're gonna have to do it, man. The funny part is, you just kind of, I don't want to say you dropped it for us, but we let everybody know there was plans for a Arctic phalanx, right?
I don't think I've heard this.
We put a kind of a little teaser out there for an Arctic phalanx right there before the Snowcat wrapped up, and we decided not to put it on to, in respect of what Hasbro was trying to do. We didn't want to divert anybody that wanted to have a Snowcat.
Yeah.
And make them have to make a choice.
Make a choice if they're having, I get you.
Yeah. So we wanted to let them finish up and make sure you got the Snowcat, the people that wanted it, get it, And so we just held on. We're going to come out with it here in the fall. But let's just say that there's a really high probability that something fits inside.
Oh, okay. Okay, guys, stop holding the show hostage with super chats. Jeremy J for $4.99. Mark seems to have a lot of opinions concerning military figures and lines. Can I ask, where's your military knowledge coming from? Are you a vet? I
am not, but kind of mentioned earlier in the show, a big historian. Military history has always been important to me. My dad, I have a long line of them. My dad was active military. My grandfather was active military. So I grew up around it. But like I said early on, got married, had kids, started making toys.
Yeah, life went a different way.
It totally did. And like I said, there's times where I go, man, there would have been a life there I would have probably enjoyed, but everybody has a different destiny. And path.
Or you end up getting shot and killed, because that of my regrets, it's that path not taken. It was right out of high school. I was making a lot of money. Yeah, and I think it was the end of Desert Storm had ended, and I think it was going to desert, whatever other Desert Shield after that. I lost track of everything that segued after that.
I got married in 91, and we were right in the middle.
That's when I graduated, was 91.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, anything else you want to shout out?
No, I think that's it, man. We got a lot of fun stuff coming for the fall, man. Really, really cool.
The big rig stuff looks cool. I like those. That was
a way to kind of organize our heavy weapons, and like we mentioned, try to get them to all have the new pack system so you could put it on the vehicles. It was a way to kind of organize all that, and then drop a couple cool new things like the loose like the 50 belt that's in the kind of roadblock one. Now it's a loose linked belt, which is a cool upgrade.
That handheld 40 is pretty badass.
Yeah, dude,
that's freaking cool.
Well, I made a bet. I was telling the guys, like, just wait. There's always going to be somebody that's going to say, this isn't possible to carry all this gear around. And I totally get it, man. But this is G.I. Joe. And the way I defend it is Roadblock's always come out with a Ma Deuce. He always had one. That was what his identity was.
Yep.
As unpractical as it may be, it's what makes G.I. Joe's superheroes, right?
Yeah.
These guys should be able to lift things that normal humans can't lift. And so just like Marvel, they have their superheroes. These guys are my superheroes. And so carrying around big machine guns and, 1,000 pounds worth of ammo, no big deal.
Hell yeah. BFG. By the way, you have Tony Sig motorcycles for Dreadnoks. And I know you're going to be shocked at this, but for $2, war chest full of toys, going to need that Gridiron t-shirt in size Husky. He mixed it up. It's not about the snowmobile.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, they're coming, man. They're coming. We have our ones. our older design is on still for the rest of the year. So.
Yep.
Nice.
Now, we usually would say this pre-show.
Yeah.
Mike and I would say, hey, by the way, we do this awkward moment where we're like going to end the show and we do a post show and we forget to tell people that we're going to end the show. But there is, if you want to stick around for the post show, when things are done, we'll talk backstage. So randomly, good. Like at any.
Them figure it out boys are at it again. Y'all comment below and be sure to like, share, and subscribe Mikey and Zakanan's YouTube, IG, and Facebook accounts. We'll see y'all next week.
Hit it.
I'm gonna get real weird with it.
Do it. Do it.
Let him watch. Let him watch.
You some kind of bad boy or something?
Yep, I'm a bad boy.
Oh.
I don't care about it.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Good for you.
I'm not even a real doctor.
That is bad.
I killed a man.
You what?
So I got that going.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor?
Will the congregation please rise?
How much weight do you think I could bench press?
What the f*** are you talking about?
You're an idiot.
That is correct.
Jesus Christ!
Eat my short.
That is one big pilot.
I'll eat pieces of like you for breakfast.
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Eat
If I wasn't practicing... You eat asshole? No. Never give up. Never surrender. Yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're tearing me apart.
I'm David Bowie.
Thank you. Thank you.